Hey, Santa Clarita and everyone listening in from around the world. You are right here at KHTS, your hometown station. And you're listening to Sharon Brubaker, Advanced Certified Grief Recovery Specialist. And this is the Grief Recovery Hour. And Shane was just asking me if I'm ready, and I said no, but I was just joking because I'm totally ready.
Come on, Sharon. It's a beautiful Wednesday.
Yeah.
Christmas is right around the corner.
How about that?
Under 2 weeks away now.
Yeah. And we got a lot of people with broken hearts listening today.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Go
so
take care of them, Sharon.
Yeah, we're going to give them some good news, Hey, friends, if you're listening to this show, there's a huge probability that your heart may be broken. It could be from a death, either recent or long ago, or it could be from the breakup of a romantic relationship. It could be from one of the 40 or more known losses that we know can cause a grieving experience in your heart. Regardless of the cause of your broken heart, you know how you feel. It probably isn't good. We're not going to tell you how you feel because you already know. But at best we can tell you, we know what it felt like when our broken hearts occurred, and it was not good. I have an amazing guest today. I'm so excited. I have world-renowned, known Tanya Mullery from the Steamworks Center. She's the founder and CEO of the Steamworks Center. Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Sharon.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yes, I am too.
We're going to be talking about one of those 40 losses.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We have so much in common.
I know.
I knew from the beginning that this was a loss we should talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the losses we're going to be talking about today is the loss of business. Mm-hmm. Loss of your business, loss of creation, loss of creating that business. So I'm going to share a story with you real quick. Awesome. So I thought it was so cool when you and I were talking the other day and you were like, hey, I think this is a grief. And I looked at you, I'm like, it absolutely is a grief. In 1996 in Santa Clarita, I owned a children's store called Kids Time.
Oh, wow.
So my mother and I opened it. But here was the thing about Kids Time. It was my own creation. Mm-hmm. I created it. I developed it. I went downtown. I learned how to shop downtown. I learned how to buy. I set the budget. I did everything that I could to make this store amazing. And my idea for the store was that find children's clothing at an affordable price that people could come in. And it was really crazy because at that time, leggings had just been invented.
Ooh.
And my leggings were $18, which was really expensive, but you didn't have to keep rebuying them. So that was the idea, right?
Wow. Now, do you know what leggings cost these
yeah,
days?
like $3.99. Are there?
No. I mean, like some of these high-end premium crazy leggings.
Like probably crazy. Oh my gosh. Well, yes. So probably $49-$50.
Yeah,
I have
still
no idea.
spend $18. So
Yeah.
that's okay. I'm with you.
So I love this thing. I love this store. I was a young mom. My mother and I owned the store together. We invested a lot of money in it. I had it open for about 3 years. The recession hit, and guess what? People didn't think $18 leggings were in their budget, right? So I had to close the store. But here was the deal. It was so hard on me. Mm-hmm. Partly embarrassing, I think, because I hadn't succeeded in what I set out to do. And so I just pushed through and closed the store. At that time, I had the name of the store on my car. I had that removed. Tanya, I have to tell you something. I closed the store and I didn't look back. And I was like, this is it. I'm doing it. I'm out of here. Because then, you know everyone in town and everyone sees you.
Yeah.
1 year later, this is how I know absolutely it was a grieving experience. I was driving down the street and I just burst into tears. I literally pushed it down. I refused to deal with that grief and that pain. I know.
So you never went through a grieving process?
I did. I went through a grieving process after I got into grief recovery, but it was after grief recovery and after the loss of Austin that I realized when I went through my losses that this was one of the losses I absolutely had to deal with.
It's intense.
Yeah, it's really intense.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I did not know that story.
Yeah. I saved it for us to talk about it on here, on the air.
Wow.
So
juicy.
Tanya, tell everyone kind of what you do.
So I'm the founder of Steamworks Center, and this idea for a business was born out of the loss of a business, actually. So we'll go into that. But it's a resource hub for entrepreneurs and startups in Santa Clarita. It's a place to get office space or to work together with your fellow bosses.
Yeah.
and get inspiration, collaboration, motivation, find resources to help you with projects like websites or branding, or marketing, things that people are maybe not that strong in their business. So, and I realized that this was a big need in the community. After suffering loss of my business. So in 2010, I created an app called Ed Rover, which probably I haven't properly grieved for. We can talk about that later. And for 4 years, I kept that going. And I, like you said, it was, what I was known for in town.
Right.
It was something that, I would show up to events and I would be, we would have the branded clothing and we would, we were really putting our all into it. Lots of money, lots of time, lots of emotion, lots of our creative energy. And I remember getting a 1-page letter from the IRS, which was kind of like the death notice.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I let it go on for another year, but it was kind of like the thing that made me realize this isn't going to work the way I hoped it would work.
Right.
And we were too far along with the money situation to really recover the way we wanted to. And I remember being in my car, and like you said, cars are great for crying, man.
Yes.
If you're in your car right now and you're bursting into tears, we're with you because
exactly.
it's a great place. And I just looked at this 1-page letter that said, nope, this isn't going to be possible anymore. And I just, all of your hopes, your dreams, your identity is wrapped up in this this business, and having a devastating loss like that is really difficult. And I always thought it would be cool to help entrepreneurs grieve a business by having a funeral or some kind of closure, because we never do that.
Absolutely. And that's key to really being able to move on. Here's a couple of things. I didn't cry that first year. I didn't cry at all, because tears may or may not be a sign of grief.
Yeah.
That's one thing for sure. And what we grieve is the loss of hopes, dreams, and expectations. Everything we wanted to be better, different, or more. And the other thing that's so important is that absolutely is a loss, and it will attach to other losses. That's what's so crazy, right? I think that we should do a funeral for businesses that have been lost at least once a year, really get everyone together, and let everybody get a chance to share about it. I think it would be really cool.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people chalk it up to failure. It's not maybe like losing a person that you love, because there's the chance obviously to start over, do something new, get, reclaim your mojo and move on. But it is one of those things where we really cling to the shame of that failure.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we do at Steamworks Center is we have a little dish in our conference room. I don't know if I ever did this with you.
No.
And it's a dish of rocks, and everybody gets to write their failure on the rock, and I call it Failure Rocks. Because we stand on the pile of rocks of our failures and get stronger and more motivated to succeed. So
and I think what happens a lot of times with our businesses is that we put our heart, soul, and everything in it, and then we open it up to the world.
Yes,
and we open it up for everyone to see. Ta-da!
Right,
and then
sometimes the world's not ready for us. So Ed Rover was an iPhone app for moms before moms had iPhones. So a little poorly timed. I'm always a little ahead of the curve. So you never know.
So some of the things that we know that a griever can experience is not only not crying about it, but it can start affecting other areas. Like it could stop people from actually moving forward in their lives. Absolutely coming up with a new creation, right?
For sure.
Stop them from really wanting to create something further or put themselves out there. Or I've met many grievers that just hang on that one failure and they just can't get past it.
Right. And it's interesting, I did the same thing. I was working from home for a few years. It just couldn't seem to figure out what I wanted to do next, how I wanted to make an impact, how I would go forward. I mean, I still had my regular digital marketing business, which I had maintained throughout. I still was a software and startup consultant. So I had things to do. I had productive things to do, but it wasn't my creation. And so it's interesting how it can really derail your creativity, your drive, your motivation for a long time. And if you're sitting there by yourself
Yes.
kind of marinating, I call it, marinating
Right.
your pajamas on your couch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The thing that I think was so important, why I really wanted to do this show, is one, from my own personal experience, but two, most importantly, because I don't think people associate it with grief.
Yeah.
They don't
yeah.
realize this is really a grieving experience, and that, one, it could be your grieving experience, and two, that we don't give it the attention that it needs,
Right.
and really help to, when a business ends, to really help grieve that and move on
Right.
from it, for sure.
I think when it's a family member that
Yeah.
dies, everyone in the family understands that it's grief.
Yeah.
When the entrepreneur loses a business,
Yeah.
the rest of the family is like relieved.
Yeah.
Oh, good. You can go get a job. They make all kinds of, not supportive comments. I'm going to not be sarcastic on the radio, but we get a lot of
Yeah.
flack
Yeah.
for taking the risk, for
Yeah.
doing things that are a little bit less, I don't know what the word is.
Risky, less fun, less out
right,
there. You know what I
right,
mean? Yeah.
And sometimes there's, they're excited that there's closure, but they don't realize you don't have closure.
Yeah.
And so they don't know to support you
Right.
in the way that you need to be supported, because
100%.
we've never been trained to do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
And they're just, sometimes overly jolly, and it's
Yeah.
not just the holidays.
Exactly. Exactly.
That you've come to this end of the road, and so that can also put tension in the family.
Yes, absolutely. I think that we need to, one, acknowledge that losing a business or closing a business or a business coming to an end, even a career coming to an end, is definitely a grieving experience. We also need to acknowledge that it's unique and individual to us.
Right.
Right? It doesn't necessarily affect everyone the same, but sometimes we have to let employees go, and they actually grieve that as well.
Right.
Right?
Losing a job is a terribly devastating experience, but until you've been the boss and you've had to let people go,
Yeah.
you don't really know the sense of responsibility and the disappointment and the shame that the boss has
Yeah.
when they have to shut down and let everybody go.
Oh, yeah. And that just adds to the pain that you already have. One of the things you and I were talking about before the show started is that not every business or creation can cause a grieving experience. And I shared with you that I've been doing real estate for 12
Yes.
years. And after the last crash that we just had here, and I did every short sale possible and did everything I could to keep that afloat, when I walked away from that, it was like we had a mutual agreement. It was good for me to walk away.
It was
and
relief.
I didn't, it was relief. It was, okay, I can open my mind up to other things. And I didn't grieve it the same way that I grieved Kids Time, because with Kids Time, it was my creation.
Right. You didn't invent real estate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you didn't invent the market conditions that
Yes.
caused this to happen.
Yeah.
And so you didn't necessarily have to take full responsibility for the outcome like you did when you're creating it yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think that's a difference. My husband, around the same time, owned home care agencies. He bought a franchise with a partner. And I don't think you have the same emotional attachment to a brand that you buy and processes that you buy and operations that you purchase. You know you're running the plan, but it's more like being an employee than it is like being the creator, the visionary.
Yeah.
And so I think there is a big difference in that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so going back just real quick to what people will say to us, it's really hard because people don't know what to say or they want you to be over it.
Yes.
And that's why they come like, you're still grieving that?
Right.
They really want us to be over it and they want us to be done with it. But what ends up happening, Tanya, is that we start acting Academy Award winning.
Oh yes, the stiff upper lip, the
stiff upper
stoic.
lip. Yes,
we're okay.
We go around town and we act like everything is okay. We act like we've survived it, because I can remember thinking, I've survived this. I'm strong. I'm a strong woman. I can get through this.
Yes.
When in actuality, it was coming out in other areas.
Yes.
It comes out in other areas of your life. Sleeping in, not showing up to places, over drinking, over exercising, all these things that we do.
I wish I had that over exercising.
I don't have that
problem.
one either. I don't have that one either. Next time I'm going to work on that.
Yeah.
But everything that we do to really mask the pain, mask
So
the pain and overeating and all the things that we do, right?
Yes.
And so that's kind of how it shows up for us. And that's how it shows up for us when we're trying to recover from it.
I would say another thing is that sometimes we do want to talk about it. We do reach out for help, but we reach out in an interesting direction. So I remember distinctly a conversation with one of my team members who relied on my business for a paycheck. And I was explaining this decision I was struggling with. And she said to me, do you want a coach or a cheerleader right now? And it struck me like a lightning bolt.
Right.
They've all been cheerleaders up until now.
Yeah.
Right? All of these decisions I've been going through, all of the wrestling internally, all of this difficulty, you can't really rely on your team members to give you objective advice because they're motivated to keep you happy and confidently moving forward because it's in their best interest, and that's not a slight to them.
No.
But you really need to have a strong, and we can talk about this more later, but a strong team of peers,
support,
and support network outside of your team to give you that perspective and to help you through those times. And that's another huge reason that we started Steamwork Center and our peer advisory groups.
Right. And that part right there is even huge, like not having a group of peers, because just having a safe place to talk is so important. We know for a fact that grievers need to talk, and they need to be listened to and heard with respect. And I bet you that's exactly what you were doing that day. Is like, we need to hear it said out loud.
Right.
And hearing that thing out loud helps us to make that decision, whatever it is, or accepting it. That helps with the acknowledging it.
Yeah. And I really looked at her like a peer. I saw her as a business owner. She was a contractor for me, very established in business. But I kind of saw that distinction so clearly for the first time ever that day. And that was really troubling because it made me feel even more alone than I already usually felt.
Yeah. Right.
And then I thought, well, who can I talk to? I don't know where else to go.
Right.
My husband doesn't understand. My team doesn't understand.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah. Oh, that's huge. That's totally huge. We can even grieve a business that never opened the door.
Oh my gosh, you are so funny. I have another idea for a celebration. Maybe we do this all at once. Okay, remember my business funeral?
Yeah.
I wanted to have an idea graveyard.
Yeah.
And put them all up, nice Post-its or something on the wall, or maybe even gravestones. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is the vision.
Yeah.
And we all come in and we could visit
Yes.
our old ideas.
Our old ideas.
And somebody might be like, oh, I really like that one. And I have the bandwidth to run with it.
Yeah.
And then we can, bless them and say, wonderful.
We can revive it.
Have fun. Take
CPR
this idea. But we have, visionaries are plagued with multiple ideas.
Yes.
Yes.
But Tanya, so they can put in the same amount of investment financially as we did in our businesses or more.
Yes.
They can invest time, the same amount of time as you and I did, even over the years or more. They get strapped with that. I don't want to say strapped. They fall in love with that baby.
Yes.
And they grow that baby.
Right.
What happens when that baby never survives the birth?
Well, that's a crisis of execution. And sometimes it's really hard to pick which idea of your very many beautiful baby ideas.
Yeah.
You should run with.
Yes.
It's a very challenging decision, but we do try to help entrepreneurs sift through and find the winners.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break in just a second here, but when we come back, we're going to talk about different ideas of how to help the entrepreneur that's grieving their business, how to help them not stay stuck, ideas that we have to helping them move forward and really getting the energy within them, right?
Yes.
So this was fun. That went by so fast. All right, Santa Clarita, thank you so much for joining us. Join us right back here after the break.
Daily Imprints is the premier one-stop shop for custom embroidery, screen printing, and promotional products in the Santa Clarita Valley. Owners Joe and Dana have provided KHTS with quality embroidered company shirts for over 3 years. If it's new business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue, stop by or call today, 661-678-0508.
La Esmeralda is home to truly authentic Mexican food. This family-owned restaurant prides itself on its fresh-to-order menu. Even the tortillas are made in-house. If you have a taste for sizzling fajitas, flautas, or menudo, you have to try La Esmeralda's Mexican and Seafood Restaurant. Dine in or order out for the most authentic Mexican food Santa Clarita has to offer. Their Taco Tuesdays, it'll turn you into a regular. La Esmeralda on Bouquet at Haskell.
It's time to plan our company party. Tables, chairs, lights, and a dance floor. So much to coordinate.
AV Party Rentals has everything you need for your company party. Visit their large and beautiful showroom in Newhall and discover how AV Party Rentals can create that extra accent for your company party. No worrying, no stress during setup because their delivery staff is friendly, efficient, and willing to go that extra step to make things easier. On Newhall Avenue and Carl Court, or plan your party online at avparty.com.
California Credit Union, the only credit union in Santa Clarita focused on our educational community. California Credit Union offers low rates on loans for personal and business services, along with financial services for teachers, students, staff, and families. Free checking and very low new and used auto loan rates.
California Credit Union, your personal credit union, located in the River Oak Shopping Center next to Target.
Visit us and open an account today. Insured by NCUA, an agency of the federal government.
Your building sign is essential in getting customers to your location. Feathers can help get your business noticed. They walk you through each phase of your building sign project, providing special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will give you a sign you can be proud of. Your building sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Feathers on Soledad in Canyon Country, across from the Edwards Theater. Or go to feathersphoto.com. That's feathersphoto.com.
Hometown.
All day long, constantly.
Your hometown station, 98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Hey friends, welcome back. You are listening to the Grief Recovery Hour right here at KHTS. My name is Sharon Brubaker, Advanced Certified Grief Recovery Specialist, and my co-host today, the amazing, world-renowned
Makes me laugh every time you say that.
Tanya Mullery.
Yeah, I think there's some Canadians that are big fans.
Yeah, oh really? All right.
I don't know.
They're probably listening to my show.
Yes,
Everyone listens
love
to
the
show.
Canadians.
She's the founder and CEO of Steamworks Center, and today we're talking through one of the 40 or more known losses that we know a griever can experience in their heart, and we're talking about the loss of a business, creations, any type of creations, ideas that never came to fruition. It was really cool, that first segment. We're really talking about that. Yeah.
I know, rewind. No, like go backwards. If you didn't hear that, go back and find the video or the radio.
Well, and the other thing that we know is that if we don't handle this loss, it will attach to other losses, and it starts to affect every aspect of our life.
Yes,
Tanya,
it
haven't
compounds, right?
exactly? I know you've met the person that one thing fails in their life, and then you see them a few years later, and you're just like, dude, what is going on? It's because of that loss. That they haven't been able to get through it.
Yes, there is a process. I mean, I suppose mine might have been unconscious. I felt like I could take that loss and channel it into something positive or something negative, right? And so I've always felt that way since I was a little girl. Tough things happen to me.
Right.
And I can either make the best of it and move on and gain from this, be resilient and you know, tougher and learn from it, or I could just wallow in it.
Right.
And that's something that's the choice to be resilient and to recover from trauma is actually very common for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
It's really an interesting thing that some of the things that we that make for a good entrepreneur: creativity, empathy, being able to adapt to different situations, independence, risk-taking, multitasking, that course and crisis management skills.
Right.
That actually comes from the same roots of trauma as some of the shame, anxiety, perfectionism, adult ADHD. Right. And discomfort with this, you know, status quo or stability. All of those things are kind of linked, and it's interesting. A lot of the entrepreneurs that come in and they share stories with me, they have some form of trauma in their background that they maybe haven't acknowledged, or maybe they do acknowledge. It helped to drive them. Right. It helped them realize they can do hard things and overcome.
Yeah.
And I think most successful business owners also have at least one business failure in their past.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe several.
Yeah. But okay, so the way I was looking at it was this way.
Yeah.
That I learned from every business that I was in, right? So I professionally trained florists for 25 years.
What?
Oh, you didn't know that?
You have so many talents.
Director of catering. I
Seriously.
did weddings, and then I did weddings for years, for almost 25 years. And
Wow.
I'm like, no.
Yes.
I was the director of catering here at a local place, but all over LA. And sometimes I did the job simultaneously. Like, who does that sound like? Like, I'd be the director of catering and still doing my private weddings and my real estate going at the same time. But
I think you loved helping people in transition from the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
And big life events.
Exactly. It all
Yes,
is
it
that
all
way.
connects.
It all totally connects. But the one thing that I know for sure was I thought when the children's clothing store closed that I was going to be strong and I was going to push through this. And what we know as a griever is you cannot be strong enough. Sometimes you can hide it for a little while and you can push past it and a little bit of like what you're talking about. But sometimes it can come back to haunt us.
True. And I can remember a few times, especially during the scouting for real estate part of opening Steamworks Center, this amazing vision I had to have a resource center for entrepreneurs. I would bring 30 entrepreneurs on these visits to these commercial sites. And there were so many complications in this market, and I didn't necessarily have the background to understand commercial real estate. But it did take some real leaning on some of my fellow more experienced entrepreneurs in the moments that were really super dark because there was, a lot of uncertainty about the outcome. And finally we did come to a beautiful spot, and I'm so excited because we actually get to work together at Steamworks Center. And it became a home for lots of interesting entrepreneurs to really find that place that they needed to run their businesses. So it all works out, but I did have to lean pretty hard in the difficult times, and that wasn't something that was easy for me to do.
And what happens there at the Steamworks Center, which I really love, is just the energy when you walk in. The energy and knowing now, and you and I talked in the first segment about having the support group.
Yes.
I feel like you could almost walk up to anybody in there and be like, I'm having a bad time.
Right.
This is what's happening. And they'll sit and listen to you because guess what? They're an entrepreneur as well.
Right.
And they're probably having that same struggle, or they probably have lost a business in the past before, and they absolutely get you.
Or they're trying not to lose the one they have. I mean, I will say that when we do our sessions, typically one of the entrepreneurs will get a little more attention than others, but we all benefit from helping to work out the challenge of the other person because we all are going through that. How do I know if this is the right person to hire? How do I convince my spouse that I should hire this person? How do I talk to my spouse about, real estate, or how do I make this pitch to a client? We all have those issues.
Yes.
And so if we can help one person overcome their fears and challenges, we all benefit.
Yes.
We all lift each other up.
So, and just like what I was saying, we know for a fact that grievers need to talk,
Yes.
and they need to be listened to and heard with respect. When you're doing your jam sessions, that's exactly what you're doing.
I like that. I like the jam sessions.
When you're doing that, you're really giving them a place to talk. Another thing that grievers will be they'll hear a lot is keep busy. You just keep busy, and you'll feel better. You'll feel better in time, and get back to work. You just need to get back to work. And sometimes that's not true, Tanya.
You know what? I had the exact opposite experience. I realized when I wanted to get out of my funk, I actually quit all of my volunteer things. I said, if I'm going to do something productive, I need to clear the decks and have ultimate clarity and focus to move forward in this direction. And I need to not worry about all these other obligations. And that was the most liberating thing I ever did. And so I don't, who knows if that was the right thing to do, but I felt like at the time it was imperative because there was just too much stress and not enough fulfillment from what I was doing.
But what can happen is the exact opposite. The griever, who's so in pain, will dive deeper into that. You at least had the conscious decision, you know what, this is not helpful to me. And so you let it go, which I think is amazing.
Well, I stewed in it for a few years. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
You had to go through it.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah. And I think we all do. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know how long this process lasts, Sharon.
Yeah.
How long does it last?
It depends on whether you go after it or not, right? So one of the myths that we're absolutely told is that time heals. You just give it time, honey. You'll feel better in time. But then my question is always, well, how much time?
Yeah.
A year? 2 years? I've met people that have brought up the loss of a business from 20 years ago that they never got over a loss of a business. And sometimes I met a gentleman recently. He had a business with his family. The sisters were silent partners. The business was going. He was keeping the business going. He loved it. He went there every day. And they came up to him and said, we want out. You have to buy us out. He couldn't afford to buy them out, and so they had to sell it. So it was forced upon him.
Oh, then it's not
from years
it's not
before.
Just shame, it's blame
yeah,
too.
exactly,
Oh, man.
exactly.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Well, we don't realize how much entrepreneurs go through. I mean,
Right.
To prepare to talk today, I looked up this article on Forbes, this connection between entrepreneurs and mental health challenges.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, in the next 3 years, half of our working population is going to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
And almost none of us have formal business training or
Right.
these coping skills to
Right.
deal with the emotional toil and challenges that we go through.
Right.
And, it is very stressful.
Right.
And we don't have wonderful tools. Nobody in
No.
our society has
No.
wonderful stress management
Yeah.
tools. But what do you recommend for people who may be stressed as a
Right.
result of a loss like that?
So I think that a lot of what we're talking about, even if they need to create their own group, reach out. Whoever you reach out to, but they need to be the perfect person for you. Number one is this. You need to talk to that person and say, hey, I just need you to listen to me. I don't need you to talk back to me. I need to talk this through.
It
I
sounds
need
like
you
a
to be the
pillow pet.
coach. Yes.
I think you just created something
else.
I need an entrepreneur pillow
You need
pet
somebody
for
to
holidays.
listen with respect and let you be heard.
Yes.
That's number one.
Yes.
A group would be great. So creating a group would be great. Writing a goodbye letter to your business.
Oh, that's
How cool would that be?
really nice. Yeah.
Really writing a goodbye business and really in that goodbye letter adding in some apologies of things that you have held on to.
Yeah.
Releasing other people that you feel forgiving and releasing other people that you feel have hurt you or wronged you during that process for
Yes.
sure.
Ooh, I hold on to a couple of those.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I really do.
That-
In the telling of the story.
Yeah.
If you find that you're bringing up
Yes.
certain individuals, it
Yeah.
sounds like
Yeah.
that has to be dealt with.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Also, the number one thing, and we talked about it in the first segment, is really acknowledging that this is a grieving experience and that your heart is really hurting. You absolutely will feel it in your heart because it's just, think about that business. And when you feel it right there, I'm still grieving this.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
surprising how people will come to me for a death in their family recent or long ago or a pet. And then this business all of a sudden will emerge that they didn't get the chance to do right by, or they felt they didn't get a chance to complete it. Not only that, sometimes they robbed so much from their own family,
Right.
finances and resources, that's
Oh,
a
wow.
separate
That's
grieving
huge.
experience, right?
Right. So, and there's so much tied up in the money.
Right.
And this is an unusual type of grieving
Right.
because it is so financially devastating to
Yeah.
a family. When I see people making snarky comments online and things about, that coffee shop or that restaurant closed, it's like, you don't understand, that's somebody's life savings.
Yes. Yeah.
That's their 401k.
Yeah.
That's their inheritance from their parents.
Yeah.
That's literally every dime that they got from side jobs for years.
For years. And their sweat. Their
Yes,
sweat equity.
yes.
That was them
That's their
leaving,
heart and soul,
leaving
it
at
on the mat.
midnight, leaving at midnight, no one knowing they're there, being the first
Right.
one in at 4 in
Right.
the morning. That's
Right.
all of that stuff. Nobody's going to love it the way you do.
No, that's really interesting. I just saw a video with Gary V, who, if you're an internet marketer,
No.
you might see him online a lot. So he was saying, nobody's going to love your business like you love your business. You love your business at 10, right?
Right.
And you're going to hire people and you're going to expect them to love it at 10. You're looking for the 10, right?
Right.
Amount of emotion and connection to this business. You're never going to get more than a 7 or 8, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like if you get 4, 5, 6, you're probably okay. Because that's the level of intensity that the owner and the creator of the business has versus literally everybody else who's employed by it.
Yeah. There's something else that happens, and it's underlying. It can be underlining, but it can be major, is not getting up every day to go there.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
routine.
The routine of that, not posting on Facebook or Instagram any longer, not doing the daily grind of the business is so painful.
I mean, sometimes we're even wearing our logos all the time. It's like even what you wear in the morning, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's literally every decision you make.
Well, if this doesn't make it, I'm still wearing this shirt because it's so easy to pick out.
Always look sharp.
It's going to be like, Sharon, didn't you close? Yeah, I just love this shirt.
Right.
I'm going to wear
amazing.
I think that I just want to send good energy out there to anybody who's hearing this for sure, whose heart is absolutely broken or didn't know that they were possibly grieving their business. You know what I mean?
I honestly, until I met you, I never even would have thought about this topic as an area where grief was really the emotion.
Right.
I wouldn't have processed it that way.
Right.
And that was what was so interesting about meeting you and finding out what you did, because I was like, I think there's something there. I didn't even know how to dig that up. I just didn't have the tool. I mean, I was doing it my own way.
Yeah.
Which was intuitive and, took its time. And, I like to help other people through it.
Right.
That's part of why I do the business that I do, is to help people avoid mistakes and then also recover gracefully from mistakes.
Exactly.
Because we all are going to make them.
Yes, we have to. We have to fail up when we're entrepreneurs, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
One aspect we didn't talk about is that, our families grieve it as well.
Wow, interesting.
Think about that. They knew it was a place that they could go to every day. They were there. I'm sure you have this experience, but my husband jumps in with me 100%. He's the one that moves the furniture for me twice.
Say a different percentage.
He hangs the nails. Yeah, I guess he's not there 100%, but
he's behind me 100%.
He's cheerleading me 100%. Yeah.
But he's also the protector.
Yeah.
Especially now
that
we both had this experience of business loss or business sale.
Exactly.
And change of heart. So he's very dedicated to being an employee for the rest of his life. That is his goal. Like he 100% does not want to have anything to do with entrepreneurship. And so it can be a challenge, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
if you don't have 100% support of the business, you can take that personally.
Right.
And that can create a wedge. And so having the tools to have the conversation to create understanding with your spouse, because, hey, we live in a common property state, right?
Yeah.
You do not want to get divorced over your business, because you'll lose half your business.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we'll want to keep it, right? So... And not saying that that's what we want to do here.
Exactly.
Like Mr. Mullery is a very happily married man. And and I'm very happily married to him for 23 years. But it's challenging, right? It's
How did
challenging
it go? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. How did it go with the loss of the first business? Did you guys talk about it? Were you on the same page? Because remember, grief is unique and individual.
Yeah.
I can honestly say I don't remember talking to Tony about it.
Yeah.
I think it was a thing that I did. I agree with you. I think he was more relieved.
I think so. I mean, I think that, the finances are a tough subject in any, relationship, any marriage, right?
Yeah.
And so, we had poured a lot of time, energy, money, heart, soul, 401k, inheritance, like I was mentioning before, and we were grieving the loss of security, and so we had a lot of room to make up, right? And so that's part of why we work so hard today, to make up for that, because those are good earning years that you also lost. So it's an opportunity cost to be in business if it doesn't go well. So we were just in hustle mode, and that caused a lot of stress in the family.
Yeah, it absolutely can, which can also be a second layer to the grief that we have to do. Right. We know that a lot of times when we pull back the first layer of grief, sometimes there's a second layer, and we have to deal with that as well. We have to go through that experience as well to help us with that grief and loss, which is so totally important.
Right.
Getting back to the myths, sometimes what we're told is, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. You did your best.
Right.
Don't feel bad. You did everything you could.
That doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't. It does not feel good. And it hurts sometimes when people tell us that because they think they're helping us.
Right. They mean well.
They do mean well. Yeah. They think they're helping us. They think that by saying this statement that they're on our side.
Right.
It's not uncommon for people around us to want to fix it. They want to fix the pain. They don't want us to experience the pain. And so they'll say all of these things to try and help us through when in actuality, they're not really helpful.
It's almost like maybe this is the same for other forms of grief, but it feels like you're standing still, the world's still moving around you, and they just don't know that you're in any kind of pain.
Yeah.
I guess that's the perception that I get.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So I feel like you feel like someone has taken a knife and just literally stabbed you in the heart, but no one's talking about the knife. This is what I say. No one's talking about the knife. They're talking about everything else.
Right. They can't see the injury.
No, they can't see the injury or the hole that was caused by that. And they just keep talking and talking and talking. And sometimes you're not even listening because you're in so much pain.
Right.
Right?
You can't hear them. They can't hear you.
No.
And even if you did try to explain the pain that you're in, they just can't relate.
They can't relate, especially if they're not an entrepreneur.
Right. It's a different wiring system,
let
me tell you.
It's
like a whole different,
totally.
Right? It's like the Betamax and VHS debate, right? Like some people are just hardcore Betamax. That was a very old school reference.
Is that like the machine
I'm
and the
pretty sure
tape?
Shane has no idea what we're talking about.
He has no idea. I actually have the tape still and a Beta machine.
There you go.
I don't even want to tell you that I actually have an 8-track tape player.
People were like, Beta is the bomb, and it's going to be the one that survives.
Right. How about that?
Not so much.
Hey, my friends, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit deeper about what Tanya actually does at Steamworks Center and how fun it is and how she helps entrepreneurs. Thank you. Join us back right here after the break.
Aloha, friends. Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha.
The magic of the Christmas season comes to life on stage with Santa Clarita Ballet's production of The Nutcracker. This captivating and thoroughly entertaining holiday classic, performed by Santa Clarita Ballet, features characters that delight audiences. Travel with Mary and her Nutcracker to the land of sweets, where she meets the Sugar Plum Fairy. Performances run Saturday, December 15th through Sunday, December 16th at Santa Clarita Performing Arts Center at COC. Call 251-0366 or visit santaclaritaballet.net.
Step into a hot shower or slip on a warm t-shirt fresh from the dryer, and you can feel the comfort natural gas gives us every day. For over 100 years, Southern California Gas Company has provided safe, reliable natural gas service. It warms our homes, powers cleaner vehicles, and cooks our food at a fraction of the cost of other energy sources with less environmental impact, today and for decades to come. Natural gas, part of the clean energy solution. Learn more at SoCalGas.com. Search solution.
Frontier Toyota has teamed up with Santa Clarita Sheriffs for this year's holiday toy drive. Spread joy to a child, bringing a new toy to Frontier Toyota on Valencia Boulevard and Creekside. Test drive Frontier Toyota's most enticing new models, including the exciting 2019 Camry. Frontier Toyota, no games, just great deals. Like the world's best-selling Tacoma truck, or test drive the 2019 Corolla. The Santa Clarita Sheriff Toy Drive and Frontier Toyota, a tradition of giving back to Santa Clarita.
Hey there, I'm Tori with your hometown station weather. Some clouds today, but mostly sunny skies with highs in the upper 60s. Clear tonight with lows in the mid-40s. Very windy tomorrow. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, go to hometownstation.com. Find us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at KHTS Radio.
Your hometown station.
Hey, friends, welcome back. My husband always calls when I'm on the air. It's
I hope
Sharon
you didn't hear what we
Brubaker
were
right
saying.
here. He wanted to put in his 2 cents. KHTS, your hometown station, and I'm Sharon Brubaker, Advanced Certified Grief Recovery Specialist. I have had an amazing co-host for this hour, and it's Tanya Mullery, and we've been talking about the death of a business and grieving that.
I told you you're going to make me cry before the end of this segment.
But we had a surprise pop-in friend.
Yes.
April Enriquez is here with Word Pop PR.
Yes. Thank
Oh,
you
look at
so
that.
much for having me.
And she's one of your entrepreneurs that you help.
Yes. Remember I told you I brought lots of people on tours
Yes.
to find the perfect home for our group of entrepreneurs, and April's one of them. So she's been one of our co-working and peer advisory group members since the very beginning.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about what the death of a business is like. Let's talk about what you do at Steamworks Center.
Awesome. So we, our tagline, my 11-year-old son came up with. So I said, what's a good tagline for Steamwork Center? And he's like, Mom, it's like teamwork. So it's make your dream work. And I was like, wait a minute.
Clever kid.
That's not half bad. Thanks, dude. So we do get the family involved in business. But how do we make people's dreams work? We actually come up with a solid plan and connect them to resources. So it's really about 3 areas. The money plan, because people are so stressed about their money. The game plan, what's their action plan? What kind of, what's their strategy? What's their tactics that they're going to take? And are they being accountable to doing those exercises on a regular basis? And then finding their dream team. So often people say, well, I love this business and I'm going to do really well, but, I just have to do everything myself. I can't afford any help, right? And so they avoid asking for any help. Therefore, they fail a little bit every day. It's like the death by 1,000 paper cuts. You're just like, okay, eventually you're sore and bloody and bruised and you just can't go on. We'd rather people come in and really take the time to plan, meet the incredible people that work at Steamwork Center or are connected in our talent network, and find the right people that can supplement the things they do well.
Right.
Oftentimes when you start a business, it's because you are really good at that one thing.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you're an accountant or a lawyer or a marketer or a salesperson or a
boss,
a boss or the operations person. Sometimes you're the visionary, but you can't execute as well, and you know it, but you hide it for too long. And so we want you to find that dream team and get connected.
So last Wednesday,
yes,
I walked in on the end of a jam session
yes,
with you and Miss April. So April, share, you don't have to share the whole thing, but tell us what that was like for you. Like you were actually in one of Tanya's groups.
Yeah, I am. So I have been in business for 7 years now, but I'm still reinventing and figuring it out every single day. Just like Tanya mentioned, you can be really good at one thing, but it takes time to develop the skills on, the business side, from invoicing to negotiating to staffing and having difficult conversations sometimes. So I've turned to Steamwork and Tanya to get that guidance and that coaching to navigate some of these areas that are a little bit uncomfortable for me at times. And Tanya has presented some really great methods and ways to sort of attack everyday business problems, and they've been really helpful, especially in the past couple of weeks for me. So, yeah.
I think it's so gratifying for me to watch people go through this process, because at the beginning of a session, they can be very fatalistic about what's going on for them. I remember one with a coworker of ours who came in saying, like, my back is against the cliff. If I don't do this pitch tomorrow and win this business tomorrow, we're done for. People are very wrapped up in this. Like, that's the intensity that an entrepreneur brings into the session. And when, 3 or 4 or 5 entrepreneurs can attack the problem together, by the end, the transformation is astounding. The person, we say, how are you feeling? What's going on for you? Like, what do you think it's going to be like tomorrow? There's no way I can fail.
Right.
This is like amazing. I can't, there's absolutely. And then they come back with the deal. Right. And so we've found a way to work problems in, an hour or two that normally you would just like stew over for just months.
Months, exactly.
Of worry and stress and how am I going to do this?
So when I walked in at the end of April's jam session, there was writing all over the board. She was like walking on a cloud. She was like, I get this. I got it. And that was truly.
Yes, and then report what happened afterwards.
Well, last week was especially powerful because I came in with a very concrete example of what I needed help with, which is always helpful. Like if you walk in and you don't even know what you're working on, right? That's half the battle. But I've been able to identify my problems more clearly with Steamwork and or with Steamwork's guidance, not with Steamwork. And that session was really powerful because my perspective shifted.
Right.
So I didn't just get an outline of how to attack a conversation that I needed to have within my business. I had a huge shift in perspective and a huge shift in attitude around the issue at hand. And that came from just like working through and peeling back the layers. And Tanya really facilitated that, but also the other business owners in the room who'd maybe gone through it before or had already learned the hard lessons and brought those to me.
Yeah.
So,
and we don't mince words with each other. We're very respectful but honest with each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because we understand the emotions and the thinking that an entrepreneur goes through, we actually can help challenge the limiting beliefs and really like push people into action.
And I just to add to that what I learned that day, I put into practice the very next day and had a really fruitful, awesome conversation the next day that I needed to have. And it's resulted in some really fantastic work. And I've seen progress in just 1 week, but I needed that to push through.
Thank you. So we've gone from grief to recovery right here in the 1 hour.
Wow.
Tell people how they can get in touch with you, Tanya.
Okay, wonderful. So our website is steamwork.center. And Steamwork is like teamwork with an S on the front of it.
Okay.
There's no S at the end, though. S in the front. And then it's 661-505-8597 if you need to call. And, but definitely the website. Thank an entrepreneur, please.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.